tonight on the federal immigration crackdown in North Carolina. The Department of Homeland Security says nearly 400 people have been rounded up so far. And despite reports the operation was over in Charlotte and Raleigh, Homeland Security says that is not true.
Now, the crackdown sent fear across the immigration community in those cities, with tens of thousands of children skipping school this week out of that fear. WECT's Ariana Bertolotti talked with the superintendent of New Hanover County Schools about the impact of the crackdown on the schools here. Did you find out anything about any drop in attendance, Ariana?
I did, John. Dr. Christopher Barnes says he is seeing fewer Hispanic students in the classroom. However, Dr. Barnes wants to help put parents at ease that their child will be kept safe, fed, and educated while under their supervision. He continued to say there are a lot of contributing factors to student absences, including illness and holidays. On any given day, Dr. Barnes says absences run between 5 and 10%. But for the Hispanic student subgroup, he saw an overall increase in those absences.
Today, we have seen an increase in our Hispanic absences, from students of our Hispanic students. It's running up between 20 and 22%. Which is over the normal average, but certainly not as much as we have seen in other places.
Dr. Barnes also says he has talked to school officials in Charlotte, and they say there is no evidence the crackdown is targeting schools there. Ariana Bertolotti, WECT News.